This is Matthew Robert Payne, and this is an interview with my sister from heaven. My mother had a miscarriage before my older sister was born. She had a baby that was stillborn, and she named her Karen, and it was a daughter. And then she had a miscarriage. She didn't name, but she was named Talitha by the Lord, and so I'm here to have an interview with Talitha. It was my friend Julie's idea. Talitha has spoken to me before, and I've recorded some of Talitha's words before, and she thought that it would be a welcome part of the interviews with the saints. So the first question that she has for Talitha is, question 1 is, Talitha, how soon did you know that you were going to be Matthew's sister? From the first ability to understand things in heaven, when I come of age to be able to understand things in heaven, I was told that I was part of a family on earth, and I was going to be the older sister in a family on earth, and the Lord Jesus let me know that there was going to be a son in that family called Matthew, and I was going to have a part to play in his life later in his life when he'd grown up. So I spent all of Matthew's life. Matthew's 47 now and only come to know me about a year ago. I spent all of Matthew's life watching Matthew and seeing everything that Matthew does, and praying for him and interceding for him, and so I knew all of his life that he's lived. I've been able to watch, and I've experienced. I've also there's actually big video screens in heaven, movie screens in heaven, and we're able to pick a person that we're involved with, that we will be involved with, and we're able to press play, and then it plays the future of that person's life. So I sit here today not only aware of Matthew's past and everything he's been through and experienced, but I'm totally aware of his future and what achievements he's going to do, and the things that he's going to get up to and conquer, and the great ability that he has, and I'm going to let him know from time to time little things about what he's going to do in the future. So I'm proud of him. I'm proud to be here. Matthew was a bit nervous today, but I assured him that I had the words already worked out what I'm going to say in this interview, and so he just needs to relax. So that was that question. Question 2, do you know and understand why you were miscarried? That miscarriage is something that happens in a person's body. Certain times, at certain times, a life isn't going to be a good life. There can be problems with a baby, and sometimes the body works that out and miscarries the baby. I know that I don't know the reason I was miscarried, the physical reason. All I know is it's been a total enjoyment growing up in heaven, and growing up with my friends that were miscarried and abortions, and I had plenty of friends, and I was always aware of my mother on earth, and always aware of Matthew, and it's life has become a lot better being able to contact Matthew and be in touch with Matthew, and part of part of the understanding I have why I was miscarried is so I could hold Matthew's hand and champion Matthew in these years, and stand beside him and encourage him to go forward. And me and Mary Magdalene spend quite a amount of time with Matthew. Whenever I appear, Mary comes too, and we grew up. Mary has a part to do with Matthew's life, a good part, and we become like what Earth would call besties. We're a couple of good girlfriends in heaven, me and Mary Magdalene, and both of us have got a vital role in Matthew's life. So I don't really understand the reason I was miscarried, but it had eternal purposes. Certainly having the ability to be part of Matthew's life now is part of God's plan and part of what God arranged for both of our lives. So, question 3, do you think about meeting your mother one day? That's an interesting question. I've appeared to Matthew and talked to Matthew on a couple of occasions now when he's been home at his mother's house, and he mentioned to his mother last time he was visiting that I was in the room, and that I was seated in the room, and his mother was excited, and my mother was excited to know that I was there, and she became a bit overwhelmed with my presence, and was a bit overwhelmed with emotion, and said that she looks forward to meeting me in heaven. And I'm not sure if well, Matthew's not sure if his mother is prepared to meet me in a vision before then. Of course, I know things about the future, and possibly Matthew can step his mother into a vision and see me. But at present, his mother is happy to hear of me, and she'll certainly be delighted to read this interview. I've got a lot of love for my mum, and as people in heaven who has mothers down on earth, we have the knowledge of our mother, and we have the love for our birth mothers down on earth. So even children who have been aborted know who their mother is on earth, and pray for their mother, and love their mother. And of course, my father shouldn't be left out, and I've got love for my father too, Matthew's father. So, but there's a special place in my heart for my mum, and I enjoy being interviewed and asked that question, so I can give some details. Question 4. Is there anything you want Matthew to tell your mother for you? Perhaps we could reword that question. Is there anything that you want to tell your mother, seeing she's going to read this? I want you to know that you're a champion, that you've had plenty of things to overcome in your life, and I've watched you for over 40 years and watched the way that you've handled yourself as a mother, and your children are very fortunate to be children of yours. You did nothing but be an excellent mother to your 4 children, and I really would have loved to grow up with you as my mother. I look forward to seeing you one day in a vision, and I look forward to seeing you one day in heaven and embracing you and showing you the wonders of heaven and taking you for a tour, for you to meet my friends and for you to have a tour of heaven and meet the great saints of old, and for you to be part of my household and be part of my life forever. You have to excuse me, I'm quite emotional to be talking to you, and I want you to know that you're precious, and you're a mother with excellence, and you've got a real ability. You told Matthew that all you really wanted to be in life was a mother, and you do the job of motherhood with excellence, and I'm very happy to know you, and very happy that you be reading this, and very emotional as I say it. Question 5. Talitha, what keeps you busy in heaven? One of the things that I do in heaven is I'm an artist, and I spend quite a bit of my time painting, and I do all sorts of artwork, and my artwork is treasured in heaven. I'm a good artist, and I have my own shop, and people come into my shop and see an artwork that they like, and they pick that artwork for their friend's house, or to give as a present, or to take home to their house. And people are always decorating in heaven, and I like that. Even when an artwork goes out of my gallery, another duplicate artwork of the artwork that left appears on the wall, one that I didn't paint but an exact replica, and so I never lose my artworks, and they just continue, and as I paint more and more, my studio gets bigger and bigger, and people are able to see the progression I have in maturity in my painting. And if Matthew was artistic, if Matthew had any artistic ability or any knowledge, I'd be able to explain what sort of artwork I do in heaven. But I do a lot of still life, and I do a lot of Matthew's just trying to find the word. I do a lot of portrait, like portrait photography, but portrait artwork and still life, and he's trying to think of the word, landscape, and so. I've got a number of styles, and once again, if Matthew was artistic, he could mention artists that are famous in the world, and you'd be able to understand my style. But Matthew doesn't know the words to use. So I worship, and I've got plenty of friends, and I encourage youth. I've got to work among the youth and the young children in heaven, and I spend time there. I also spend time fellowshipping with Mary, and she's got civil duties that she does in heaven, and I assist her in some of those duties, and I come alongside her and do some of her performances and some of her engagements that she's a part of in official capability in heaven. I'm sort of like a lady in waiting who assists her and is known throughout heaven to be her personal assistant. So I kept fairly busy, and I hope you all who listen and read the book in the future, I hope you all come to my studio one day and are able to pick out a painting for yourself. Question 6, tell us what you enjoy most about Jesus. Jesus is multifaceted. That was an interesting question that you said, what do you like most about Jesus? Jesus is very popular in heaven, and everyone in heaven wants to speak to Jesus, but they all have their time and their ability to speak to him one-on-one. And what I like most about Jesus, and it's been mentioned by other saints in other interviews that Matthew remembers, is that when Jesus speaks to you, he just speaks face to face with you. There's no one more important in the universe than yourself when Jesus is talking to you, and he knows all about what you're doing, and he knows all about your life. He's got pertinent questions to ask you. He asked me about my artwork, and he asked me about my duties with Mary, and comments on some of the civil duties that I've done with Mary and how proud he was of me in that capacity. I sort of underplay my role that I have with Mary in the official engagements. I didn't want to big note myself, but Mary is quite important in heaven, and she does some really important things. And so when Jesus comments on those jobs that I did with Mary, I'm encouraged, that he can see the good work that I do and the things I get up to. Jesus has got one of my artworks in one of his palaces, and it means a lot to. I've been getting emotional a bit through this interview, but it means a lot to have Jesus pick one of your artwork and hang it in his residence, and it made me special the day that he walked through my gallery and picked one for himself. And the thing I like most about Jesus is that he makes you feel important, and he loves you with a love that is just fills your whole heart. Your whole heart is like bursting with enjoyment, and the fullness and the presence of Jesus is amazing. And he's not in a rush. He's not in a rush to go and talk to the next person. He's not disturbed by other people walking around. If he just walks into my studio when I'm painting, he just appears, and it's time to have a break and have a conversation with Jesus. If he comes to my gallery, time just stops, and he walks in and has me take him on a tour and show him my latest paintings, and he comments on the progression that I'm making and the maturity that is in my artwork, and he discusses all the great painters and how this reminds him of this Rembrandt, and this reminds him of this other famous painter, and how I've captured the light in this one, and how all sorts of stuff. Matthew wishes that he was artistic and could understand and explain this to people, but Jesus is knowledgeable about all things, and it really touches my heart that he spends time with me and encourages me. He's got a lot of good things to say about Matthew, and Matthew is very precious in his heart. I've got a part of my gallery with just pictures of Matthew and different situations of Matthew's life, and like photos of Matthew, but artworks, and those paintings aren't selected by people. They're mine, and I keep them in a private part of my gallery. People can look at it and they know who Matthew is, but they're kept special, and they're painted for my enjoyment. Matthew had no understanding that I would be so emotional, but talking about him and talking about Jesus is my favourite two subjects, and with the backdrop of talking about art, makes me highly emotional, and I want you to know that that Jesus is the centre of the universe, and everything living should come to know him and should come to see him and understand him, and he spends quality time with me, and really makes me emotional, and really encourages me. And so that's the favourite thing I like about Jesus, is that when he's with you, he makes you feel like the most important person in the world. Question 7. Now tell us, please, what you enjoy most about your brother Matthew. There's a couple of things that I love about Matthew. The most outstanding thing that I can think of when it comes to my brother Matthew is his obedience, that he gets told by Jesus to do something and he'll do it. You know, one time there was a Jesus voice that was talking to him that wasn't Jesus but a demon, and that demon, pretending to be Jesus, told him to strip naked and jump in this stranger's pool and do 10 dive bombs. And Matthew questioned Jesus at that time whether he was really speaking to him and was really serious, and it made him very nervous to go into a stranger's pool and strip down naked and do dive bombs and make a noise. But when he was convinced that it was Jesus, he stripped down naked and did the dive bombs, and the man who owned the place came out about the 5th dive bomb and said to him to get out of the pool or he'll ring the police, and Matthew said that he had to do 5 more dive bombs. He's so obedient, you know. That's an example. Matthew cleared up that false Jesus speaking to him, and he's very aware now when Jesus is speaking to him. But that's just an example I can use in Matthew's life. How many people would strip down naked and do dive bombs in a stranger's pool naked? Matthew's done some amazing things for Jesus, and has been obedient in life-threatening situations, and he's been able to be a witness for Jesus according to how Jesus wants him to be a witness. And so that's one thing I really like about Matthew. And another thing that I like is he's got this childlike faith. He's like a child. He hasn't. He has grown up, but it's like he hasn't grown up, and he's just got this childlikeness about him that believes in Jesus and believes in Jesus' promises, and has just got this childlike faith, and the obedience and the childlike faith are amazing. There's a lot of things I could tell you about Matthew. This series, he's come under a lot of attack for these interviews with the saints, and his ability to press on and keep on going when Jesus has instructed him to. His obedience in this matter is second to none, and so I'm really proud of him. So there are a couple of things: his childlike faith and his obedience. Question 8: is there anything, Talitha, that you would like Matthew to do with his time here on earth, or something you would like to see him accomplish? I look forward to the days when he's a well-known author. He's currently writing books, and he's not well known in the world, but I look forward to the days when he is a well-known author, and he's a well-revered author. I look forward to the days when he starts to speak in churches and starts to speak at conferences and big events. I look forward to hearing him speak in front of audiences and preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ and the teachings and the revelations that Jesus gives him. Matthew looks forward to those days too when he preaches, but he really is especially in love with the books that he's created, and he looks forward to many people reading his books and taking into them the information that they contain within. Of course, I've seen Matthew's future. I've seen him speaking at conferences. I've seen how popular Matthew comes in the world, but it's not always good to share a person's future with them. It's not always beneficial, and so I know a lot more about Matthew than he knows about himself, and I know a lot more about his success. And the Lord Jesus, my Saviour and my Lord, is going to take him step after step, and one step after another, until he achieves great things on earth, and he becomes a household name among Christians, and he has an influence and a ministry that affects millions of people. And so that's all I'll say about him. He's a relatively small fish at the moment, but we look forward to a day when he'll have more influence and his books will be read by a lot more people than are currently reading them. Question 9. Talitha, is there anything you'd like to share with or tell mothers who've lost or miscarried babies that they truly wanted? First of all, I just want to share with you that no baby who's aborted or miscarried has a hard life in heaven. heaven is a wonderful place, and you have each child has like foster parents in heaven, and have people that bring them up in heaven, and there's angels and other children to play with, and we learn the things of Jesus, and we learn the things of the Bible, and we learn straight from heaven. We grow up in an environment with no sin, with no envy, with no jealousy, without no pain, without no suffering. We grow up in a perfect environment, and we have an amazing life, and a joyful life. And so to the mothers who've miscarried, just understand that your babies are being looked after, and if you know a prophet and you've miscarried, or you know someone who can hear from the Lord, if you can't hear from the Lord, but if you can hear from the Lord, ask the Lord direct what the sex of your baby is, or if you can't hear from the Lord, ask someone prophetic, and get the sex of your name and name your baby, even though it may be some years since you've had the miscarriage. When you come up with the name, heaven will have known in the future you came up with that name, and will have been naming the child that name ever since they were arrived in heaven. So name your children, and find out what sex they are from someone prophetic, and name your children, and they pray for you, and they love you, and they look forward to meeting you, and they have a terrific life in heaven, a life of perfection. Imagine being born in a place with no suffering, and no sin, and no disease, and no bills, and no money worries, and no education problems, no sicknesses, no mental illness, no suffering, no Down syndrome, no intellectual problems with children, learning problems. There's none of that in heaven. So all your children are smart. They're actively engaged in and learning what they to do with their life. They achieve great things, and they work within their gift sets, and what their gifts are, what they're born with, what gifts they're born with, and they work within those areas, and they become very good at doing what they were born to do. You'd be very proud of them, and you can rest assured that your children are in a good place. One thing that Matthew suggests to parents is that they find out the sex and name their children, and also start to write letters to your children, and tell them how you're going, and tell them what you're thinking about them, and those letters will be taken down by a scribe angel and read to your children by Jesus. Jesus will invite your child onto his lap, and get out a letter that you've written, and read the letter to your child. So I hope that encourages you. Last but not least, Talitha, do you have any thoughts, or is anything you want to say concerning the abortions allowed in the world today? First of all, let me say that it's a sad thing that abortion is allowed in the world today, but there wouldn't be many young ladies or ladies that go and have an abortion just for the sake of wanting to have an abortion. There's always determining factors behind the reason. There's always reasons behind why a girl has an abortion. Perhaps she's too young, perhaps she's still at school, perhaps it's a baby's going to interrupt with her career, perhaps she hasn't got the finances to raise a baby, perhaps the man has left her and she doesn't think she'll be able to support the child. It could be hundreds of different reasons why a woman would choose to have an abortion. What's important is that women know they're loved. It would amaze women to know that all the abortions grow up in heaven, and every child that's aborted has a life in heaven. And I have got many friends who were abortions, and they're beautiful adults today, and very adept at their life, and very skilled in their careers and the things that they're doing in heaven, and they dearly wish to meet their mothers. Merely saying no to people, no, you can't do this, actually encourages people to do it more often. And so parents have got to know, parents who've had abortions have got to know that their children are in heaven, and that they should commit their lives to Jesus Christ and give their lives to Jesus Christ and follow him, and make sure that they get to heaven so they can meet their children and meet. Of course, they don't have grandchildren to those children. No one has sex in heaven, but they get to meet their children that they sadly made that decision to abort. So heaven loves all the mothers, and heaven forgives all the mothers, and heaven doesn't like people having abortions, but they certainly look after the children in one way. So that's all I've got to say to that. Of course, the children grow up knowing their parent is on earth, and some parents of abortion don't actually come to heaven. They don't make a decision for Jesus and end up going to hell, and that's not a good end result for an aborted child in heaven, to have their parent not come to heaven. So not everybody comes to heaven. Those that confess Jesus and believe in Jesus come to heaven. And so I'd encourage you, if you're watching this and you've had an abortion, I'd encourage you to give your life to Jesus Christ and follow him. And if you've miscarried or had an abortion, I'd encourage you to get the sex of your baby and start to write your baby letters. And your baby may be a teenager or an adult in heaven, but they certainly appreciate hearing from you. So I was encouraged to be invited here. This interview wasn't as long as some of the saints' interviews, but it gives some perspective, and I'm glad that I was emotional at certain parts during the interview, so people would know that I'm a real human being, and I've got real emotions, and I can be affected by talking about certain subjects. God bless you.